Is it time to start talking about a long-term deal with the All-Star Game MVP? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. It's no secret Jarren Duran has been the MVP of the 2024 Boston Red Sox, but last night he added to that by becoming the All-Star Game MVP in a game that featured guys like Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and more. Jarren Duran rose above all of them, and last night really sparked a debate as to whether or not Jarren Duran should get a long-term extension from the Boston Red Sox. So what we are going to do in today's videos, we're going to break that down. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons of extending Jarren Duran and talk about whether or not the Red Sox should consider doing it. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. It's always more fun to start with the pros, so let's start with the pros and talk about why people are saying Duran needs to be extended for a long period of time. It all starts with the back of his baseball card right now because statistically, Jarren Duran is excelling in basically every single possible way. Offensively, he's currently hitting .284 with a .342 on base percentage and a .477 slug, good for a .125 OPS plus, about 25% better than the average hitter in all of baseball right now. He leads all of baseball in triples at 10 and the entire AL in doubles at 27. On top of that, offensively, he also became the first player in AL history to go into an All-Star break with at least 100 hits, 10 triples, 10 home runs, and 20 doubles. You're looking at things offensively. It's hard to ask for anything more from what Jarren Duran has done for the Red Sox this season. Defensively, he's also shining. Currently, he's in the 95th percentile in outs above average, the 93rd percentile in fielding run value at 7, and his defensive runs saved are currently at 13. The major league average for defensive runs saved is 0. That is absolutely ridiculous. And just to add on to the statistic onslaught that he is showing on the field right now, he's the most valuable base runner in the sport with a base running value of 3 at the 100th percentile in the game. That means there is not a single player that is more valuable in terms of base running value than Jarren Duran. And sure, steals are a big part of that. He has 22 so far this season, but it also includes factors like being able to take first to third on hit balls that really no one else in the league can do, or stretching doubles into triples or singles into doubles. Jarren Duran on the base pass is the most valuable player in baseball. Statistically, looking at it, hell yeah, you want this guy here for a long period of time, right? He's doing it offensively, he's doing it defensively, and he's doing it on the base pass as well. There is not a single thing right now that Jarren Duran is not doing for this Red Sox team. With his ability on the field, he has become a true five-tool player in the game of Major League Baseball. We could, in fact, see a 2030 season from Jarren Duran this season. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility, especially with the power surge that he has been getting on lately. Again, statistically, there's not really anything else Red Sox fans could possibly ask for from Jarren Duran, but it's not just the back of the baseball card that has fans wondering whether or not he's worth a long-term contract. It's what he's doing outside of statistics that really put him over the edge. Over this season, Jarren Duran has sort of become one of, if not the face of this Red Sox team. He has truly been a guy who is at the forefront of what the Red Sox are trying to do this season, and Red Sox fans aren't the only ones who's noticing this. Last night, David Ortiz talked about the future of the Boston Red Sox, and he specifically mentioned Jarren Duran, saying that Duran is the future of the Boston Red Sox. Alex Cora, the manager of this Red Sox team, talked about what Duran has meant to this Red Sox team so far this season in a quote where he said, "I'm trying to find the leader of this organization. Duran is going to help us not only for this year, but he's going to help everybody in the future. He loves it and he understands it. He's becoming a guy. This is going to set the organization up for the future, having a guy that when those prospects make it here, they can look up to." Those are some really big words from some really important people in this organization, and it makes a lot of sense. Duran doesn't take a single game off. He's played every single game so far for the Red Sox this season, and he plays every single game as hard as he possibly can. That is an example that would be fantastic to set for all of the young players who are going to be joining this Red Sox team in the coming years. On top of that, it's not just about his play on the field, it's about what he's gone through as a person. We all know the story behind Jarren Duran. We all know the highs and the lows that he has gone through throughout his career. Having someone who is a vocal leader of your team, who has succeeded this well at the major league level after failing as hard as he did for multiple years at the major league level, could make a massive difference in an entire team's approach to a season, to a game, to a career. Jarren Duran has the potential to be a legitimate impact force both on the field and, more importantly, for this conversation, off the field as well. He has developed into one of the stars in Major League Baseball. He has developed into one of the leaders of the Boston Red Sox, and for fans specifically, he's become sort of a hero that Red Sox fans can relate to. Jarren Duran is doing superstar stuff on the field, but he's also been so open and honest about the struggles he has gone through as a human being. He became extremely relatable to basically every single Red Sox fan. He's someone that fans can look up to, can idolize, and try to become in the best way possible. When you're looking at why the Red Sox should try and extend Jarren Duran, it is extremely obvious. Statistically, he is fantastic. Offensively and defensively, he has become one of the best players in Major League Baseball. In the clubhouse, he has become a leader of these young players. At 27, going into 28 himself, he has shown that he can lead a team and be a vocal leader in the clubhouse, which the Red Sox just really don't have right now. And finally, he has become a hero amongst his fan base. There are a ton of pros as to why you would want to lock this guy up on a long-term deal, but there are also some cons as well. So let's break those down too. But before we get into those, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit this subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Sox almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way you can let me know you're enjoying the content we are putting out. Thank you all so much for taking a second and doing so. Let's break down the cons. I know people really don't want to hear about the cons of signing Jarren Duran right now, especially coming off of last night where he just simply outshined the best players in Major League Baseball to win an MVP, but I do think it's important to talk about, and I think it's important to get the entire context. And right now, in my opinion, the biggest thing standing in the way of Jarren Duran in a long-term deal is simply the timing of it. Jarren Duran, because of his arbitration process, will not be a free agent on the open market until 2029, going into the 2029 season. Now, due to his age, the fact that he's 27 right now and he's going to be turning 28 by the end of September, he will not be a free agent until he's 32 years old. Timing-wise, it might not make a ton of sense for the Red Sox to lock Jarren up for a 7-8 year deal if you are already going to have him for most of his career peak. The other thing here too is that there may be some conversation within the Red Sox organization as to how Jarren Duran's skill set is going to age over time. Now, there have been some really great examples of guys who have had similar player profiles to Jarren Duran, who have evolved along throughout their career and really been successful throughout a majority of it or the entirety of it. But recently, there's also been some examples of guys who haven't. Grady Sizemore and Jacoby Ellsbury are probably at the forefront of those conversations, and that, to me, is the biggest reason why the Red Sox may be sitting there and saying, well, wait a second, let's give it a year or two and see how this sort of progresses as he gets towards his age 30 season. We already have him for what should be his statistical prime of his career. Why would we try and extend that and get him on the back end of his career as opposed to just enjoying the good times right now? That might be the biggest reason as to why the Red Sox may have some pause in signing Jarren Duran long term. But there's another reason too, and people are going to hate that I talk about this, but committing to Jarren Duran also really limits your future options with some of your top prospects. Guys like Roman Anthony and newly acquired Braden Montgomery are really impressive outfield prospects that are going to be making their way up over the next couple of years. Now, you've already committed yourself to Ceddanne Rafaela. While that contract is pretty tradable, it's a clear indication that they want him here for a long period of time. If you commit to Jarren Duran as well, that leaves one outfield spot available for the next wave of Red Sox talent. And obviously, this is a tough pill to swallow because for the most part, we look at this and we say, as a fan, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, well, wait a second, Jarren Duran's doing all of this at the major league level. He's developing into a legitimate superstar at the major league level. These guys, Roman Anthony hasn't proved that that he could do anything at the major league level, and Braden Montgomery hasn't played a single game for the Boston Red Sox at any professional level yet. He was just drafted a couple of days ago. Corbin, how could this be something that gives the Red Sox pause? Well, it limits options, right? Again, we go back to the age thing. In 2029, Roman Anthony is going to be 26, 27 years old. Jarren Duran's going to be 32 years old. What are they both going to look like production-wise at their respective ages during that time? It's a tough pill to swallow for Red Sox fans. It's an impossible question for the Red Sox to answer, but it's one that's going to need to be answered. At some point, you are going to have to decide what the future of your outfield is going to look like and whether or not that includes Jarren Duran. If you look at this sort of just rationally and you take a look as to why the Red Sox may not have really truly tried to extend Jarren Duran up until this point, there are some pretty rational reasons as to why they may hold off, at least for another couple of years. Maybe they give him a 3 or 4 year deal towards the back end of his arbitration to eat up some of his years in free agency, while also giving themselves a pretty cost-controlled player that they can move around a bit. That would rationally make some sense. But here's what I want to say about Jarren Duran. With some players, I get kind of sick and tired of being an armchair GM, of sitting here and trying to think rationally like a GM would talk, because at the end of the day, all I am, all you are, is a fan of this team, and we want the best players and the most exciting players to be here for a long period of time, and that's what Jarren Duran is. He is an exciting potential leader of this clubhouse, of this fan base, of this team on the field, and I want that here for a long period of time. I want to throw any rationalization out of, oh, this doesn't really make a ton of sense in the eyes of a GM. Well, good news is I'm not a GM. I want Jarren Duran here forever. I want him to continue to do this until the Red Sox are a championship team, because he deserves a championship, and the Red Sox honestly deserve to have Jarren Duran lead this team to a championship, and honestly, the Red Sox fans deserve to have Jarren Duran winning an MVP and a championship, right? Going in and being an ALCS MVP or being a World Series MVP, because we have sat here through thick and thin with this kid. We have watched him become the player he has become today, and it feels like he means a lot more to us than a lot of other players have over recent memory. And so for me, it's a really hard question to answer, because rationally, thinking as a GM of a team, it doesn't make a ton of sense to extend him, right? You've got him under control basically through the prime of his career. You have him cost controlled due to his arbitration. The only way it would make a ton of sense would be to extend him through his arbitration, maybe a team option for the first year of his free agency, just so you have a legitimate cost controlled number that you can work with. But outside of that, it doesn't really make a ton of sense to give him an 8-9 year deal when he's going to be 35, 36 coming out of that. However, as a fan, hell yeah, you should be extending Jarren Duran. You should be going out there and you should be saying, this is a dude that David Ortiz and Alex Cora called the future of this team. This is a dude that Alex Cora called the reason that these young kids, these guys who we just talked about, Roman Anthony, Braden Montgomery, Marcelo Meyer, Kyle Teal, Christian, all these young kids are going to look up to coming into Major League Baseball, and that is a massive, massive impact that this team needs to be careful with and not lose. The conversation as to whether or not they should extend Jarren Duran is a really interesting one, and in my opinion, I don't think it's going to happen, but I also think they absolutely should. But that is just my opinion, so let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think? What do you think in terms of a GM, and what do you think in terms of a fan? Which way are you going in both of those scenarios? Is there a difference in your mind? Let me know all your thoughts on the conversation of extending Jarren Duran in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Sox almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Again, it just helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way you can let me know you're enjoying the content we are putting out. Don't forget, you can always get these episodes available in podcast form. Anywhere you guys get podcasts, just head over to the app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.